Alright, so just wanted to show you my workflow in Obsidian using threading mode, which is a new mode found in the Breadcrumbs plugin. Alright, so just follow me here. Might go a little quick. So under settings, I've created this new vault and I'm going to start from scratch, setting it up everything. So now I'll just switch the theme to light. Install the minimal theme, close, turn on safe mode under community plugins, download the Breadcrumbs plugin and enable it as well. Download the meta edit, enable it, download the data view one as well, enable it as well, and let's set it up. So let's close everything. I want to create this node called the index node. Also create a folder called daily notes. Okay. So let's go to settings, go to core plugins, enable the daily notes plugin, tap pane, start, /commands, workspaces. That should be pretty much it. Go to hotkeys, type in create. And just choose something that you want to do. For me, I use Ctrl-Alt-Shift down, Ctrl-Alt-Shift right, left, period, and up. And I just leave create new node, that's Ctrl-N. Alright, let's go to backlinks, enable it so it shows up under the document that you have opened. Let's set up breadcrumbs. So I just leave the hierarchies as default, which is up, same, down, next, previous. Of course, you can also put like parent, or child and all that. So it's up to you. General options. So I remove the stats view and the down view. It's pretty much quite useless. I removed the refresh index notice because it can get quite destructive. For now, in small vaults, I enable the refresh index of node change. But as you get more used to this workflow and your vault gets larger, you can disable this option. Next one here, I type in aliases and I leave the rest the same. Matrix list view, I like the list, so I disable it. Disable this and I open on the left side. Trail or grid, I enable this and I also click this to just show the number of children leaving the node. So here we select the index node we selected, show all paths if none to index node are found. And yeah, nothing much in down view or alternative hierarchies. You can explore that if you want, it's quite interesting. Write breadcrumbs to file. I enable this to switch it to inline mode, so this is quite important. And the rest are the same. Show aliases of nodes index, I enable this. Okay, next go to daily notes, and over here you just leave this as normal. new file location, you click Daily Notes and open Daily Notes Startup. The rest you can just leave as default. And let's start. So what I normally do when I start is I create today's daily note by clicking this. Of course, you can also create a hotkey, which I normally do. Control-Shift-D or whatever you want. So Control-Shift-D brings me to this note. And from here, this is where, you know, the magic happens. So let's say we have a talk today, right? So we start off from today's note, and let's talk about PKM apps. So Control-Shift down to create a child. I can amend this title, so let's name it as PKM apps. Okay, so this will be our first note. The first time you launch Obsidian, it comes out with this prompt, just click always update. Okay, so you can see that it automatically creates this metadata here, which is up, shows that the parent to this node is our daily node. So let's configure our workspace a little. Click Breadcrumbs matrix, and then it shows this sidebar. You click matrix to go into list mode and refresh it once. Okay, next thing, you go to the more options here and you click toggle links in documents, and next you also open the local graph. So what I do is I normally drag this to put this underneath. So it's up to you, but I like just having one sidebar instead of have two. It's too messy and takes up too much real estate. So the reason for putting the local graph this side is that it provides you a visual kind of image. You know, it shows you the threading, how your thoughts are branching out, almost like a mind map. So what I do here, I normally I up the depth to at least 3. Okay, and then I close this. Display, I put the text fade threshold to all the way down. Okay, and I click the arrow to show the directionality. Okay. Actually, the arrows wouldn't matter because things are created bidirectionally here with the breadcrumbs. So let's go back to our normal node. You can click, you know, the thing in the sidebar. So this is where we started off, 1st January 2022. And of course, there are no parents for this node, but you can see that it automatically has created this downward movement to PKM apps, meaning that this is a child node of our current daily node. So you can click, hold Control and click Enter to go to that next node. And here at PKM apps, you know, we can continue this thinking. So under PKM apps, let's say we're going to talk about Obsidian. So let's create a child, Control-Shift down, and then modify the name to Obsidian. So you can see that on the side here, you can see there's a trail that's going on from daily node to PKM apps and now Obsidian. So you can see that you're kind of moving in a certain direction. You can also adjust, you know, how it appears. You can change the force and link distance, make it look a little prettier, you know, or you can see, just playing around with it makes it different. Yeah, okay, so let's say from Obsidian we want to talk about Breadcrumbs plugin. So Control-Shift down, which would be a child, right? And here we can actually talk about our breadcrumbs plugin. Okay, so if the breadcrumbs disappear here, you want to refresh index, and brings back the trail that you had. So from 1st January down to PTM apps to Obsidian, and then now to Breadcrumbs plugin. So you can see on the graph as well, you can follow along this trail, right? So far all of these have been just notes. We don't know if they are fleeting notes or literature notes. It doesn't really matter at this point in time. But as you go along, let's say you want this to be a literature note, you can just tag it. So let's create a tag saying it's a literature note. And just hit enter. On the graph, you can also choose to show text. Yeah, and then you can see the literature note over there. Yeah, you can go to Obsidian. You can also, say that's a literature note. You can go to PKM maps, literature note, right? And you can see that they're all reflected now. They're all connected, which is really good. Okay. So next, let's go back to Breadcrumbs plugin. And so far from here, we have been creating parent-child relationships. But what's interesting about Breadcrumbs is that you can go sideways. So what's the point of doing a sideways kind of thing? Let's say, you're talking about the Breadcrumbs plugin. Let's say you're typing something about it. Let's say the plugin is pretty cool, and makes use of really different contextual relationships between nodes. It also, the most interesting thing is that we can stay on a node and choose where to go from there. So, we're staying on this current talk of Breadcrumbs plugin. Let's say we want to talk about the threading mode, and it's related. It's not really a child under this plugin. It's like a node. It's like a thought that kind of branches out from, or kind of is sequential, coming from this thought about the Breadcrumbs plugin. So Ctrl+Shift to the right creates almost like a tweet, that comes after a previous tweet. Right, so from here, let's say we're going to talk about the threading mode. So the threading mode enables us to stay in one talk at a time, or one note at a time. At the same time, it allows us to choose where to go. Yeah. So, this is also very similar to, we can create a link here. Let's say we call it Luhmann's notes. Right? And you can see here what happened here is that we created somewhat of a parallel universe. Yeah, so you're going on about breadcrumbs and threading mode, and then there's a related concept that comes out of it, related to it, and it's running in a parallel kind of chain. So let's say you want to take this Luhmann's notes and branch out and follow that. you can do that. Control Shift click, and then you can talk about it at the side. You can talk about how make this created sequential type of settle custom, which is kind of similar to what we have here, right? And they're all related. Here you can see everything's on the graph view, and let's say you want to go back to your original threading mode here, and let's say you want to talk more about threading mode. It also, you can create a Control-Shift right, moving to the next thought. See that threading mode actually encourages atomicity of notes and thoughts, and by creating a subheading for each note, at the same time you kind of summarize you don't ramble, you kind of capture the essence of that tweet or thought, and you can see it developing. So over here you can talk about it as atomicity of thought. Okay. Again, every time you change a note, you can just click refresh note. So there are many ways to navigate through here. One is through the side pane, another one is through the local graph. There is also through this navigation thing we have up here. If you find that the graph is getting too messy, you can play with either the forces here. You can create a larger link distance, for example, right? And you can remove the center force, and then you can see that it makes a more kind of linear movement here. Another way that you can see development of thought would to use the Andy Matushak plugin. So you can use the sliding panes kind of thing to show progression of thought, and then slide back to go back to the previous thoughts. So you can be creative about this. So that's pretty much what I want to show basically. So there are certain things that are quite cool which you can do with this. So you don't really have to care about where to sort the note. Okay, just close it. Control-D, Control-Shift-D to go to your daily notes, and then just start working from there. So let's say now we want to talk about how we can create a task management kind of thing here. Control-Shift down to create a child. Okay, and let's say we want to talk about task management. Let's say you thought of a task to do, right? And let's say you have a task and you want to create a maybe remember to take out the trash, right? And then you can go up from here as well. So a task, you know that maybe this is part of a project of just maintaining our household chores. So you can Control-Shift up. You can name this household chores under project, for example, or you can just tag it as project if you want, right? You can go back to task, you can tag it as a task. Yeah, and you can see under project household chores here, right? You can see a task, and from here you can add other things. You can control and shift down. You can create another task. Let's say you want to sweep the floor, right? And if you go back up to project, you can see all the tasks all just appearing there, which is really, really good. You can control and shift down. You can create, let's say, do laundry, right? And let's name it as a task. And just go back up. You can see everything is all there, right? Let's just rename that. Yeah, so these are some examples of how you can use it. Yeah. Let's say you're starting a topic, for example. We can use that. So again, go back to daily notes. Okay, from here we can branch out. Let's say create child, and now maybe let's say you're studying medicine. Okay, I'll just use an example that I'm familiar with. Let's say I create a child studying like pharmacology or something like that. Let's say maybe anatomy, right? And then within anatomy, create a child. I can go to, let's say, like the skeletal system, for example. And you can branch down further. You can go down to, you know, the skull, for example, and what there is over there, what kind of bones there are. You can go down to child, you know, the maxilla bone, bone, you know, and then you can also create a same control shift dot. You can, you know, you can have the zygomatic arch, stuff like that. Fresh, you can go back to skull, and you can see that yeah, the skull, you can see its mandible, you know. Oh yes, so I guess it didn't work. Let's amend that. So you have to go back to skull, and from here you create a stuff like that. Yeah, you get a picture. So you can also navigate and go all the way back up, and you see you kind of have a sequence of what's happening, right? So I think that's pretty useful. Yeah, just let me know if you have any comments. Alright.